Hey guys, so this video is going to be a little bit different, hopefully a little bit better than the previous two videos. I've got a tripod finally, so since I'm a one-man show, it's kind of hard to, work and video at the same time. I don't have three hands. So with a tripod, I should be able to do some video of myself working, which should be a little more interesting, rather than me just talking the whole time. This week I'm focused on electrical stuff. So I'll clear out an area here. Now, this is probably as confusing as I don't know what to you guys, but it halfway makes sense to me. This is kind of a rough layout of the house. Living area, kitchen, dining, entryway, other entryway. And this just kind of shows a rough sketch of where all the circuits are and kind of what wiring I need. So it keeps me organized somewhat. I spend half my time trying to figure out what I drew. Okay, so I'm in the hallway here and I'm trying to string all the lights on one circuit. So it's meant that I've had to install some junction boxes. I'm using LED lights that don't have enough room in them to make the light fixtures junction boxes. So using these. Now I don't claim to be an electrician. I don't have the patience to be an electrician. So if any of you guys see that I'm doing something wrong, please let me know. It'll save me a headache when it comes to my inspection. So, but based on what I've been reading, I need to place a junction box here, and it has to be accessible. I'm going to have a light here that can pop out, and I assume that'll function. It'll pass code as a junction or a access port for my junction box. Now I've gone through and labeled each one of these wires because when I put the drywall up, it's going to be a nightmare to try and figure out what goes where. These I'm going to have hopefully closed off so I don't have to mess with them after the drywall, because the light's going to be sitting right about here. So in order to get to them, you'll have to kind of reach up around the drywall, which will be a bit of a pain. It's a little bit like being on a stage here with these lights shining directly in my face. So it's been really easy. I haven't straightened the wires out in there yet. They're just kind of all over the place. But it's been really easy to run wires just because there's so much space with this drop ceiling. I can run wires any direction without drilling holes in here, which has been nice. I can't say so much for other areas. Okay, I'll see if I can move the light whilst videoing to show you guys what I've had to deal with over here today. So my plan had been to leave the plaster and everything on the ceiling just because I can drywall over it very easily. And I came about this close to tearing it down. It was really getting in my way today. So I ended up having to take and pull this line down so that I can run my wires through here. And I had to do the same along both sides of that beam. And then I'm gonna have to do it again in the master bedroom. Down here it doesn't matter so much because I'm putting drywall over everything. Upstairs, it's going to be, I'm rewiring all of that, and I don't have access to the walls or the ceiling, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to get started on that tomorrow. And just pulling wire will probably take a good part of tomorrow. So, yay, fun stuff. Okay, so I'm a sucker for anything that will speed the process up and make things more efficient. And I really like these new wire nuts. They're just kind of a plug and play thing. Again, I'm not an electrician. Maybe a professional electrician would have something against these. But for me, I think these are a great invention. I just hate dealing with the twist-on wire nuts just because it takes so much time, and I don't know, unless you're really good at it, it just is a pain. So these should speed things up a lot. They do, like these are pretty big, these 4-wire connectors, but those will be fun. Now, because I have this plaster, I'm leaving this plaster up, these lights are gonna, they don't have much room to sit up there. So, thanks to modern technology again, there are these fancy little low profile mock can lights. They're LED. They have, you can adjust the color temperature on them, which is pretty cool. And then they have these very quick plug and play connectors, which I like. But these are very low profile, so I can clip these in. You drill a 6-inch hole and push these tabs up, and literally you push them up in the hole with these tabs up like so. And then as you push it up, they come down and they just clamp it onto the drywall. So this is about 1.25 inches, which I have these, there was kind of a pseudo drop ceiling, and those are about 3/4 inch thick. So I'm just gonna screw the drywall to those, and then the thickness of the drywall. With those two things combined, I'll have just enough room, with a little bit of wiggle room, for these to fit in. Whereas with a regular can light, I'd be struggling to drill holes and everything and get everything lined up. So yeah, I like it when there's more efficient ways to do things. It usually costs just a little bit more, but in my opinion, a little extra on the expense side is worth the decreased headache. Okay, side note. I've been doing all of my framing with this 1-foot square, and as great as it is, it's kind of big. I had a speed square and I can't find it, so I went to Home Depot today and saw this fancy little thing, and I deliberated over getting the $12 Empire square or this, I think it was $19 or something, this Milwaukee square. And I opted for the more expensive one because it looks cool, and because it's got all of these. It's got these scribe notches. It's got all these measurements for like rafter cuts and everything, which a regular square does too. But this just looked like it had a lot more features and would be easier to use. So yeah, you know, you're getting into construction when you get excited about getting a new square. So I got a new drill bit for drilling holes in the upstairs. Pretty long. Very long. It's right about 6 feet long. You can see it's almost as tall as I am. So that should help a lot with the trying to reach through places to run wires. I don't know where I'm going to need to drill holes yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun either way. So I know there's tools for this, but I'm too cheap to buy one, and I have a solution laying around. So this is, there's an old cutoff inside. It has a little hook rib on it, and sometimes there's just a wire. You can't push wire very well. This is stiff enough yet flexible enough that I can push it and it'll still bend around things. So I'm able to push this up through, and then it's got these handy little nail holes. Works perfectly to slide the wire through, bend the wire over, and then you're able to pull and pull the wire back to the opening where you want it. Measure here real quick. So the fridge is going to be between 30 and 36 inches wide, likely. So I've got a 30-inch deep cavity, and 30 inches comes to right here. So I'm going to have to put the receptacle on this stud here. Alright, it's got these little tabs. We're going to pull these tabs out to the back of the box so we can get the wires in. This is the wire that we just ran up through the floor. Let's pull a little more up here. Let's see, that'll be more than enough. Now I went and pre-drilled all these holes. I just did them all the same height, so it's not super clean. If I were doing it again, I would go and drill everything custom as I'm doing it, just because I like everything to look clean. Oh, I should have pulled out the top tab, not the bottom one. And stick it there. Put a staple in it. And since that's the only thing I'm putting on this circuit, I'm not going to bother labeling it because I know what that outlet is. Okay, so it's like noon, and we're in the second week of August, and it's so cold I had to go put my hat on this morning. So I went ahead, and I'm in the master bedroom right now. I've started putting this insulation in because if it gets any colder, I'm going to want to run a heater in here. So since we've got the wiring and the external walls, I can throw that insulation in. Right now, I am getting ready to drill holes through these joists up here so I can run the lights for the ceiling. Okay, so I think I'm gonna end the video there. I've gotten pretty much all of the outlets and lights wired up on the main floor. I've still got to do the dryer and the stove and the smoke detectors although the smoke detectors, they're all going to be linked together across multiple floors. So that'll probably be the last thing I wire up. But it's just a lot of the same old stuff, pulling wire, putting it in receptacles, and generally testing my patience. So I'm going to keep wiring. It'll probably take a good bit of the week to get the wiring done, and maybe in the next video I'll probably add some of the finish up and some of the plumbing that I'm going to be doing hopefully this week if the wiring doesn't take too long. And then we'll move on to the roof after that. So thanks for staying tuned, and we'll see you again next week.